And we're
Hello.
live. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Business Building Book Club, my personal favorite thing to do on a Thursday morning. I am here with the one and only video Jedi himself, Mr. Lefty. How are you doing today?
I am doing quite fantastic. Almost slept in today actually, and then I realized very quickly that I snoozed my alarm, and I was like, "No, I gotta get up. It's book club. I cannot miss it."
Oh
but
my
and, that,
goodness,
and
yes.
but it's been a pretty good week. I'm happy with how the week is going. How about
Fantastic.
you?
I am in love with applying what we're learning in the book club into my content and into my branding overall. It's been really cool. There's so much we're learning and we're like bouncing around. We're going sometimes we're looking at one chapter, sometimes we're looking at a different chapter. And we're bouncing around the book because there's just so much
So
value in there.
much.
So before we dive into today's stuff, let's say good morning to everyone. Whether you're watching live, I see you guys watching live. Good morning or hello from wherever you are. Let us know where you are tuning in from, whether
Yeah.
or not you're reading along with us, or you're just here for all the wonderful insights. Let me know what's going on. I am drinking green tea out of my Tim Hortons Children's Foundation mug. Cheers.
Very nice.
What are you drinking today, Lefty?
I am drinking a black coffee out of I believe this brand is called Mikasa. It's a Costco series.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, they
He's a
make some
strong
pretty
one with
fancy
that black.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Drink it black
So
all day, every day. No sugar, no cream, no nothing.
you're sweet enough. You don't need any added sugar.
Oh,
I'm buttering you up. It's Valentine's month, right?
there
I
you go. There you go.
love you all, people. So today
Hearts
we're
all
going to start
around.
out. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're going to start out in chapter 3. So previously, we covered our first episode. We covered literally the forward and the introduction. We talked about Mr. Beast. Go watch that episode. Then last week, how many episodes are we? I think episode 4
This
now.
is the
I don't know.
this is the
Oh,
fourth.
yeah, so we covered part 1 kind of as a large overview in an episode where we talked about the platform, but today we're going to dive back into the second half of part 1 and really get to know the AI, the algorithm, what that means because oh my goodness, there are so many people think the algorithm is something like scary and something to be dreaded or something to like bow down to. So we're going to learn more about the algorithm today. And heck
Mm,
yes to Chinese green tea. I love that. I love that.
nice.
Oh, red tea, even better. Even better. Mm. All right, my friends.
I
So
mean,
yes, you can. Someone's asking about the audiobook. Yes, when you purchase the YouTube formula through Derral Eves, like we mentioned previously, you can get there is an option to purchase the audiobook, I believe, and I think it's also on Audible.
okay,
When
yeah.
if Mark comes by today, he can 100% answer that question because he went through with the audiobook. I'm a paper kind of book person. Are you Lefty?
Me too. Like I I cannot listen to a book. I don't know why. I can't. Like I know they say that you can gather or hold on to the most information when you're like reading and listening to it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's confusing to me, man. Like I can't do that. Like just let me read. That's all I want to do.
Oh, speak of the answer. Good morning,
Oh,
Mark. How are
hello,
you
sir.
today?
Good morning. Good morning. I
We actually have
I
a
had a little
question.
yeah.
We have a little question for you. Where did you get the audiobook version of the book?
Oh, the audiobook version. I got it from Audible. I got it from Audible. And that's that's a great question. Here's a little information. Every month in my private Facebook group, I reward the top 3 contributors to the group. You know, you can look and see who has the highest engagement. I reward them with 1 free audiobook from audible.com.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's so cool.
That's a fantastic way, my friends, to
Yeah.
get a
So
copy of
it
the
was
YouTube formula and start implementing.
Yeah.
Yes. So of course we just passed into a new month. So I put the announcement out there, and no, I have one person in my group who's been following along with us. You know, we've got some fans out there. I just want to say hello, everybody. Thanks for showing the love and support and watching us, following along with us. And he's going on a YouTube journey. Hey, I can't tell who that is, but
Oh, my friends.
He's starting a YouTube journey himself. So he's in the group and he's like, "Where am I at? Where am I at?"
I love it.
So he won another audiobook last so I just sent it to him last night, and this time he selected YouTube Secrets by our good friend Sean Cannell. Have you heard of that book?
I sure have. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good book.
Yes. Oh, sorry to barge in like this, but
No, we love it. We
You're
love it. We were
excused.
just talking about how today we're going to dive back into part 1, and we're going to talk about the AI and the algorithm, because the idea of AI and the idea of following an algorithm can be really overwhelming,
Yeah.
but it's actually not even close to overwhelming when you've read it and you've understood it in this chronological fashion, the way that Derral Eves presents it. So chapter 3, for those of you who are following along, it shows you the history and how we got to have the technology on YouTube that we have. So we're talking about copyright, being able to identify copyright, being able to have those conversations with creators about utilizing content that you own, because previously in the good old days of YouTube, the platform was full of people just uploading content that they were going to be sharing with their personal circles. Sharing videos with friends. I know I definitely did that. If you go to my personal YouTube channel, all of the videos from like 2007 for a few years there were all like, I would use YouTube as a way of doing my presentations for university. So I would respond to comments and I would try to engage in a dialogue about what we were learning as like a video vlog. And I would share these little tidbits of information that weren't necessarily relevant or presented in a way that's meant for a wider audience, but it was definitely a platform that allowed us to get a lot of intimate stuff. So in one of the videos I was looking at that I did a video presentation on one of my favorite directors, Tim Burton, and I used a ton of clips. So that video is not what we would be able to utilize and monetize nowadays. But it was definitely the way that we used the platform back in the day. And then I thought that was really interesting to understand why. Why did YouTube evolve in these ways? Why were these systems put into place? And so in chapter 3, it's called the YouTube AI Deep Learning Machine, which is, I'll just read you the first paragraph of this chapter because it's so cool, just to set it up for you guys. A YouTube creator who recognizes the need to adjust to the data, but doesn't have a clue how to do it, is like a gardener who wants homegrown produce, but has never planted a seed. Becoming a successful gardener doesn't happen overnight, and neither does becoming a YouTube pro. You have to grab a shovel and dig in. There will be blisters on your metaphoric hands in the beginning, but as you develop your data digging muscles, you'll start to unbury a network of underground connections and discover a whole new world of the hows and whys of YouTube and what it takes to produce successful content.
Yeah.
YouTube's artificial intelligence, or AI, is an
Mhm.
evolving structure in the digital ecosystem, and it takes work to understand and utilize because it's malleable. You'll need to be malleable too,
Mm.
meaning you have to adapt your strategies according to what's currently working. Your best chance of doing this successfully depends on your knowledge of the systems at play. Malleability. What do you guys think about the idea of malleability and that the algorithm's changing all the time? And so we as content creators have to change all the time. What do you guys think of that?
I think it really stems down
I think
to the I mean, yeah, like you can't stop the algorithm from changing, right? But I think that's where you need to get a good sense of like community building, because it doesn't matter how many times the algorithm
yeah.
changes. If you have a strong core of people, like even if you had like 100,000 subscribers, for example, but you have those like true 1,000 super fans, for example, like if you can just continuously create
Mhm.
things for the super 1,000, then it can literally, the algorithm can change a million times and it doesn't really matter. And I feel like the issue that I find a lot of creators are doing is they go, algorithm change. Now we have to go in this direction. But then all of a sudden, all the people that used to follow them for a specific thing are now like, screw this person. I don't want, like, like
Yeah.
they're not making things for me anymore. So I think there has to be
Yeah.
a good combination of understanding change, but also not forgetting who you are still creating for.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I I I absolutely love this book, and I love the way that Derral explains it in stories. And when it comes to the
Yeah.
story of the algorithm, I think it comes down to his story and his battle with Matt Cutts. Do you
Mhm.
remember that battle with him and Matt Cutts? How it started off as when YouTube started, he began trying to figure every way to beat the algorithm. He would try hard, and him and Matt Cutts were butting heads. He said that Matt Cutts at Google became my enemy, and it wasn't intended align his goals with the goals of the algorithm that he began to see success. And love that story,
Yeah.
because you learn to align yourself with the algorithm instead of
Yeah.
making it a battle of how can I beat it. The algorithm's going to
Yeah.
consistently change. It's going to fill in those. It's going to find out those one-offs and those people that are trying to game the algorithm, and
Mhm.
it will constantly change. But I think the to your point, Lefty, the thing that doesn't change is your community, and and what they and he made one point about the algorithm. He said that you can simply replace the word algorithm with audience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Audience, play to the audience, and that's the key. Not so much the algorithm, but the audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are some of my wonderful takeaways from this chapter. Love it.
Yeah. No, it was powerful. It was a good chapter.
Yeah. So I thought it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
very interesting. This one section I'll read to you guys, because if we talk about the algorithm and we talk about these massive shifts in the algorithm, and then you see content creators changing everything they're doing in order to appease the algorithm or what they think is appeasing the algorithm, and it starts to have this um, not genuine feeling of the content you're creating, because as Lefty says, you're no longer creating for your true fans. You're creating content
Mhm.
for like an audience that doesn't necessarily exist yet. It's not necessarily what they're looking for. You're just trying to get more eyeballs. And so I thought it was like this aha moment I had when I read this. Let me back up a bit. When that shift in the algorithm happens and all these content creators change the way that they create content, they start to kind of clone each other. They see it's working for this person, so I'm going to copy what that person's doing, right? I'm going to create exactly that same type of content. That's not the best thing to do, my friends. We know copying things is not as beneficial as modeling what works. So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about exact match versus adjacent content. Adjacent content means we're following within the same theme, but you're building on, or you're adding a new perspective. You're adjacent to the video that the user just watched. So the algorithm is going to serve up content that's more likely to be adjacent to rather than a copy. So let me read this flag thing. I'm a paper book person because I flag things and I write in my book and I dog ear my pages. So let me know if you guys are on my team of writing in your books and dog earing your pages, or are you absolutely against that? I want to know where our book club sits on that. So here we go. YouTube joined forces with Google Brain, Google's machine learning team. Those AI development tools were leaps ahead of the field. Their goal was to build a system with the Google Brain Foundation. Their main objective continued to be viewer longevity. In March 15th, 2012, YouTube made the switch from view algorithm that rewarded video views to watch time. We know this is the big moment in YouTube when everything changed, right? We went to a watch time algorithm that rewarded viewer duration. This AI followed the audience everywhere to ensure it found the right video to put in front of them. It had the capability to recommend adjacent videos rather than clone videos. That's the term they use, clone videos. Adjacent meaning similar but different enough to keep interest. Clone videos inevitably pushed viewers off the platform because they were watching basically the same thing on repeat. More importantly, it would cue videos based on how long viewers had watched them instead of how many clicks and views they had gotten. I think that is brilliant. So what are your thoughts on clone versus adjacent, and how adjacent are you, and what are your thoughts on that, friends?
Yeah, I mean, like you definitely shouldn't like clone a video like somebody else's work. Like it's okay to take the idea and the concept and be like, hey, there's probably a way I can do this myself that will resonate with my audience. But also keep in mind that like every creator is different, and who follows you for what reason could be like a lot different than the people that you're actually even subscribed to. So if you got to kind of sit back and think like, okay, are the people that I'm subscribed to, do they make sense for what content I'm putting out? Because if they don't, and you can't like even rip off a little bit of an idea or a concept, then you shouldn't try and be like you shouldn't try and take that content, or you shouldn't try and speak on that content. Like you got to really you honest to God, I think you really have to just listen to what your audience is telling you and what they really want. And I think a perfect example of this is Canadian superstar Peter McKinnon.
Heck yeah.
He Molly, what is he? 5.6, 6 million subscribers or something like that.
Yeah.
Anywho, I think this happened during COVID or just after COVID. He wanted to change his pattern around. He wanted to change a little bit of what he was doing and how he was speaking and who he was going to speak to. And you saw a drop in his numbers. Like he was going from like multiple six-figure views to maybe just like six-figure views, right? Like, and I'm not saying that like that's not
Really,
great,
really.
because hey, if I can get 100,000 views per video, I'm not complaining. But when you're used to going from like 500,000 plus to now you're doing 100 to 300,
Mm.
that's a big change.
It's the percentage change.
Right. So
Wow. Yes. Yes.
I think, yeah, I think you got to just be careful with what you're doing. Clone if you know how to do it your own way,
Mm.
right? But other
Right.
than that,
Right.
just be yourself through and through. And one thing that I tell people, and it's kind of a message that I've passed down from someone way back then that told me about it. Because I always said when I wanted to start was like,
Hmm.
man, I don't know, YouTube's scary. I don't know if I could do this. I'm
Mm.
like, oh, right. And I go, and so many people are doing this too. So many people are doing this too. Like who the heck wants to listen to me, right? And then he goes, the only thing that YouTube is missing is you,
Right. Right.
right? So that's, you have to be the secret sauce. No guru is going to tell you what the secret sauce is, because
It's
you
you.
on YouTube are the secret sauce.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Clip that.
I will.
Yeah. Yeah. You too.
Exactly. And remember, YouTube started as a dating
You too.
site, so it
You
is
were
about
about to.
personalities. That's what's
Yes.
connecting people. I love it. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, and you were about to. Were you going to hit that next sentence? Because that next sentence is like a tweetable, repeatable.
Oh, sure
But
is. Read
about
it.
YouTube's goal for you was to watch more and click less. That's a tweetable, repeatable.
Love that. I
Man,
love that. Watch more,
I
click
was
less.
thinking about this over the past week. Yeah. And I was thinking about this over the past week as I've been just really thinking about, all of the type of content that I want to put on my YouTube channel. And that word right there, channel, says it. When you think about tuning in to a television channel, you don't look at the same program. Well, sometimes you do. You might, I think it was kind of Netflix that really brought out the binge watching,
Yeah.
binge watching where you could watch a series, you could sit down and one sitting and watch shows like from back to back to back. This wasn't this wasn't really a thing before you could download entire series. At least when I come from, you had to put them on a DVD or a VCR. but
Yep.
but you can binge watch a series. So when you think about binge watching a series, you don't want to watch the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
You
Right.
may want to watch, a similar series, but that's where cloning and YouTube's algorithm is going to detect that, and it's going to penalize you for it. And one thing I want to say about the AI, because yeah, there's been a lot of buzz about AI right now, especially with this new these chat technologies and how sophisticated they're getting. It's and I think that it's only the beginning of YouTube and all of these platforms using AI to serve up the best content for the viewer, to get them to do what? To watch more
Watch
and
more,
click
click
less.
less. That is powerful. So
Well, let's hope.
here's a real
Yes.
world example that I talking about all this AI stuff and chat GPT that's getting popular. So let's talk about creating adjacent
Hmm.
content rather than clone. So you take the topic that is hot and trending, chat GPT. Okay. Now instead of creating clone content going, oh, that person created a video for productivity tools, so I'm going to do the exact same thing, even though that doesn't necessarily fit with my audience. Instead,
Hmm.
go look at the variety of ways that creators are showcasing how to utilize the tool of ChatGPT. So we're creating adjacent content because someone's talking about productivity tools. Someone's talking about writing a book. Carla White, if you're interested in learning how to write a book using ChatGPT, go hang out with my friend Carla White from Hero FM. I'm in this awesome training with her right now, and it's brilliant, but it's adjacent to all the other tools I'm seeing. People are using ChatGPT for coding. People are using it for content generation. Each of these uses of the tool become adjacent content. It allows the user to go down that rabbit hole, constantly learning new things about that topic that they want to learn about, rather than everyone just going, hey, let's go talk to ChatGPT, follow over my shoulder as I talk about things, right? Creating things that are adjacent is going to get people to watch more and click less. I think that's so powerful.
Click less. Yeah.
Or swipe less.
That's a great example.
Yeah, also, swipe less.
Before we forget, can you put the name of that superstar Canadian that you were thinking about in the chat, Lefty? The Canadian superstar that you mentioned?
Yes, there's actually quite a few.
Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments. All right, uno momento. Let me pop this open right here. We're gonna get a little feedback. I hope not. No moment.
All right. We have some pretty incredible content creators in Canada, like in the Toronto area, especially when it comes to film production. It's like, but also, did you know? Here's your learning break for the moment, everyone. Did you know that Toronto, Canada is one of the AI capitals of the world?
I did not know that.
Yep. We are really steeped in really steeped in a beautiful community of AI researchers across a bunch of our universities and businesses in the Toronto area. It's a international hub for AI research, which is so cool.
That is pretty cool. Hey.
Well, isn't Toronto a really major hub for creators in general? Would you say that?
Yes. So Toronto is also known as Hollywood North, because we put in a ton of money and resources into building the infrastructure for the film industry, as Lefty would know quite well. We have world-class colleges and universities that are like, our universities are talking about film theory. We host the Toronto International Film Festival every year, and documentary festivals throughout the year, and incredible amounts of TV and movies are created and shot in Toronto. So Lefty and I are actually, here's a little personal note, Lefty and I are from the same little town north of Toronto, and the Umbrella Club was filmed in our little town. So that's our current claim to fame.
Tell me what's not really New York.
Yeah, exactly.
I will point it out. I'm like, oh yeah, you think you're in New York City? No, that is actually like.
Remember that? I think it was like, I want to say Cinderella something. It was a historical boxing movie. Maybe early 2010, maybe late 2000s. And it takes place, historical period film. It takes place in New York, outside of like Madison Square Garden or something like that. So I'm walking around Toronto down by the mall, the Eaton Center, and there's this street that's been blocked off. And I'm like, darn, that's the street I need to like drive through to get to where I need to go. And it was all done up like it was Madison Square Garden. So then like a year later when the movie's released, you're like, wait, that's home.
Yeah. I think the coolest, like, I know, not to get off topic, but I think the coolest thing that I ever experienced, because I am such a huge fan, is when I was at one of my buddies' condos for a little get together, and it was off of Lakeshore, and Lakeshore is the street that pretty much ends Toronto. Like, you're on the water now.
Yeah, you can't go further south or you're swimming in the lake.
Yeah. and I'm all of a sudden like I hear these rumbles and these roars like coming from the underpass, right? And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I go out to his balcony, and you just see, vroom, you see the purple Lamborghini go by, and not even a second later, the Batmobile follows right behind. And I was like, oh my God, they're filming Suicide Squad. I was like,
oh, okay. So my favorite movie shot in Toronto
Really?
is Scott Pilgrim.
oh yeah, me
One of the
too.
best movies ever.
Markville Mall, baby.
Exactly. So Michael Cera, who is the main character in this movie, who's one of my favorite comedic actors, he actually did. Here's a movie fact. He didn't like. He's from our little area here, little side town. But he stayed at the movie producer's house when they were filming the movie, and stayed in her spare bedroom. Well, long story short, I love Kijiji, and I purchased a bedroom set, and it turns out that it was the exact bedroom set from that film producer that Michael Cera slept in. So I can very accurately, truthfully say Michael Cera slept in my bed a lot.
Hey. That is hilarious.
I think that's the perfect transition to chapter 4, where we dive deeper into the algorithm itself. So we are no longer afraid of AI, right, friends? We know that AI is there to help us as content creators connect to our audiences. Remember, our audiences are people. They're our community. As Lefty highlighted, we want to focus on those true fans, those ones that are going to follow us everywhere, the ones who are engaging, the ones who are showing interest in certain topics and helping us guide our content. AI is just a tool that helps us better understand that community and find new audiences that are similar. So let's talk about utilizing those tools and how they apply in the algorithm. Do either of you guys have a section you want to read out?
I do, unless Mark, you have one.
For me, this section really was an eye opener for me.
Yeah.
It was an eye opener for me, especially when we talked about the advanced technology on the algorithm and how it takes the video. It takes first of all, it takes the thumbnail, and it can detect faces in the thumbnails. And it was interesting because I saw a video that you did this past week, Lefty, and I thought to myself, I said, I wonder he would do this, what type of effect it would have on that video. And let me tell you what that is, Lefty. You did a video about the Nerf gun. You turned it into a sci-fi, and I thought, what if you were to put the name, because, and I happened to be watching some football last week, and I saw that there was this new sci-fi Picard series that was starting. I said, what if he turn your Nerf gun into a Star Wars Picard gun? I wonder if that would kind of have an effect on it, because the algorithm actually goes frame by frame to detect items in the background, and it uses that information to determine the relevancy of your video and whether that view it. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways from this chapter, and just a big aha moment too.
Oh, I love that. Let me read you guys part of that section.
What did you think about
gathering metadata? To really get down to the details, here's an explanation for exactly how the AI gathers data. Observing metadata starts with the thumbnail. The YouTube AI uses the advanced technology of Google's suite of AI products. It operates a program called Cloud Vision, or CV. CV uses optical character recognition, or what they're called OCR. Don't worry, my friends. There's no test at the end of this, but this is just foundational understanding of how this all works. So don't glaze over with all these acronyms. So CV uses optical character recognition, or OCR, and image recognition to determine lots of things about a video based on what it finds in the thumbnail. It takes points from each image in the thumbnail, and using billions of data points already in the system, it recognizes those images and feeds that information back to the algorithm. For example, a thumbnail including a close-up of world-renowned physicist Stephen Hawking's face is recognized as Stephen Hawking's face using CV. So that video can be grouped, in other words, in the suggested feed along with other YouTube videos that are tagged under this topic of Stephen Hawking's. That is how your video is discovered. Oh my goodness, when I read this, like, oh my goodness, go.
That was a
first sentence of the second paragraph, first page. As soon as visitors arrive at youtube.com, they are being followed. So this, like, this algorithm knows exactly. It's the first page, so page 27, first sentence of the second paragraph.
Okay, I see it.
Right?
27.
Like, that sentence alone, it was like it knows, like, okay, if you went, you open up the homepage, okay, we know that Lefty's here. Okay, Lefty clicks this video. Where does Lefty go from there? Like it monitors everything. I'm sure it even monitors me just opening up, and it knows, oh, okay, he went into his YouTube studio to see that he made an extra buck. Like, you know, like it knows from the moment I exit to start to, like, it's insane how this thing works. But
and
it's
that's
good.
why when you're doing research on YouTube and you really want to understand the algorithm, start with a clean page, which means if you're using Google Chrome, which is fabulous, open a new incognito tab. Open up YouTube without signing into your account. Then you can use the search bar and search for things and see what shows up without any of that background information. Because if I type in a keyword into the search bar in my YouTube account versus Lefty's YouTube account, we might actually get different things.
Yeah.
100% we're going to be suggested different things.
Yeah.
And 100% we are going to see different things on our home pages.
Yeah.
So just from a like insider baseball kind of tip, that's a fantastic way if you're really looking for a great way to do research on what's going to work.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's probably, that's one of the biggest ones, because I know that automatically when I'm in YouTube, it just right away just shows me what I want to see rather than what I need to look for. Luckily for me, when it comes to like subscribing and figuring out who I want to be involved with, I'm very particular with that. So it's like, I know that the things I would research for, one of my peers is probably speaking about. So it's like, okay, I know that I'm going to watch what I want to watch, which is perfect. But
so Mark keeps talking about the power of this thumbnail thing. Like, we've mentioned this in many episodes now. I got to show you something, guys. Like,
go.
I have explained to you what I've read to you, what the book says, but then you turn the page and my mind was blown a second time. So you turn the page and you get a literal diagram. Let's see if I can get this up here. So see how this is a shot from the video. This is just a screenshot. There are boxes around each of these different items within the frame. Most of them are people. Along the side here, we can see that the AI has identified what they are. So there's a person, there's Stephen Hawking, there are equations written, there's a black hole, there are shirts, there's another person, there's a computer, and there's another person. And there's percentage probabilities because it's comparing to the giant growing database of other images. That is so cool. So for me, the way that I'm now starting to incorporate this idea, I haven't taken it into action yet. I'm thinking out loud. My videos, I do a lot of videos where I just sit in the exact same spot constantly. So that's not adding anything else. What's something I can do instantly for a video I record right now? I can write on my boards here. So I can add a little bit more context. Maybe I can have a whiteboard up. I can utilize that. Maybe I can put in, now I'm understanding the value of adding more stock footage and incorporating that in order to add more information from a metadata perspective into my content to help the algorithm understand more about what I'm talking about. Because it's not just me and it's not just the words coming out of my mouth. I can do a better job at helping the algorithm understand my topic by adding in more of those visuals, feeding this really cool technology that they have that's going to help group my content alongside other things that are relevant. So I become adjacent rather than floating off into space.
But it doesn't end there, Molly. What's next?
Tell me more.
Well, after the thumbnail, before you even get to the thumbnail, as you're uploading your YouTube video, it is dissecting every little word that is coming out of your mouth to make sure that it will know that you are up and running for community guidelines before you even know it.
Yeah.
And they will detect swear words. They will detect everything. It's almost insane. And you know what? The first time I really noticed this was with Instagram. And I don't know if Instagram took this model from them or they're just, using some sort of the same AI technology. But it was really funny because I remember putting out a story, and in my story, I swore, I put captions on that story, and Instagram's AI beeped out my swear words.
Like in caption and in audio.
Yes.
Wow. And I know swear words is something really relevant right now on the YouTube platform because the latest updates, we get monthly updates.
Yeah.
And the latest update is, all right, we're going to change what is monetizable when it comes to content that swears.
Yeah.
So previously it was like, don't swear in the first 30 seconds. And then you'll be considered monetizable because if you're going to watch past 30, if a viewer's going to watch past 30 seconds, they know that this is the content for them versus people who are just, discovering new content. They don't want to be turned off by that. But now there's so many creators who are really like swearing was part of their vocabulary within their community. And so they're now kind of tiptoeing around that, how to utilize that. And I don't mean like creators who are being vulgar for the sake of expressive words. One of my favorite creators who I talk about constantly is Emily D. Baker. She's a lawyer and she dissects trials and celebrity law cases and whatnot. And she I'm going to swear because it's the only way to explain this. But her community has this insider lingo, and one of them is referring to when things are a little bit crazy and questionable, and they see some kind of conniving happening in a law case, they refer to it as fuckery. And that is part of their community. It's something that literally brings their community together. Yet now we wonder how that really powerful tool in terms of community building, insider lingo, is now coming against the algorithm who sees it just as vulgarity. So, yeah.
It's pretty interesting. But I don't think fuckery is actually a swear word though.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think, yeah, because I'm trying to think now.
The algorithm may not be able to detect that difference. Yeah.
How does Gary Vee get away
Yeah,
with it? Like every
one of my
third
big
word is that guy has a
one of my big
trucker mouth.
takeaways from this was
Because Gary Vee's not trying to monetize his content, I don't think.
that probably
His platform is at a size and he controls his platform front end and back end that I don't think. Yeah, that's another difference in creators. Those who are looking to make money off of YouTube money, which we know isn't that much, versus someone who really controls that flow and that sales funnel.
Yeah, like I mean, you can make an average salary on YouTube. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get into that, but I know some major creators. I know some major creators that are maybe pulling in like 60, 70K a year off of YouTube. And we're talking major creators. Like people, I think people dismiss the fact that these guys and girls have like millions of dollars because of brand deals, because of clients, right? Yeah. Like YouTube is like I know people sometimes look at YouTube as just this fun, good old platform where we can go and put out a video and yay. But like if you start looking at it from a lead generation standpoint, that's where you can make a buttload of money.
Yep.
Because it's huge. It's huge. It's like and you got to think too, like, okay, when I put out this video, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, here's the thing to ask yourself. Would you rather have $1 million or 1 million people?
Yeah, 1 million people.
Yeah,
1 million people. 1 million people is going to be worth more than $1 million to you.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. But there's so many ways to collect on YouTube where if you have a good sense of community, you have membership areas where you can literally go as low as I think $19.99 a month, where you can make a subscription, and you can have tiered subscriptions. Like you can just be like, okay, for $20, I'm just going to send you a DM every month, for example, all the way to like, I can charge you $500 a month and you'll have access to like a course that I'm going to make, right? Yeah, you can create different Discords. You can do so many things. And depending on the level of that fan,
coaching,
super fan, coaching, like there's so many things now where it's like, I'm trying to test this area out. I just don't know how I want to do it yet, because I do feel like I have a few fans, but I'm not 100% sure as to like what I can give them in the membership area. I have an idea of what I would like to, but I don't know if that's really what's going to resonate with them. Maybe I was doing it all wrong. But another cool thing that they added is super thanks on shorts.
Yep.
For those of you that don't know what a super thanks is, it is a little heart at the bottom left of a reel where you can click and donate whatever you want to your creator because you just love them so much. Maybe you can buy us all a coffee today. Who knows? That is literally as little as you can give. Like, don't think that when you're giving money to somebody that it's like, hey, I got to donate hundreds or thousands of dollars to this person. It's like a cup of coffee goes a long way.
Exactly. 100%. So before we wrap up today's episode, first, before I ask the big closing question, I just want to point out that the team of us who is all about highlighting, putting tabs, dog-earing your book, 100% we win. Julie, you're my favorite. Just pointing that out. Just saying. So my closing question for everyone
I am a dark person.
I love that. I am curious to know. I've already shared with you guys how I am going to implement what I've learned about the algorithm into creating my content. What are you guys going to do having learned all of this now? How is that going to change your content?
Mark, go ahead.
Well, I, after after reading this, I did some research and I noticed a few patterns on videos, especially with the thumbnails. And it was so obvious to me that I need to make some adjustments to my thumbnails. And that was facial images and just expressions on faces. And these are from videos that are really getting the high view count. It all starts with that click, and there's a if you're in that if you're in that online course with Derral Eves, he gives like a full drive with example thumbnails. When you click on it, it goes and he has like all of these thumbnails for you to actually. He points out that one really popular one where the credit card is up here and the person's back here, one of Mr. Beast's thumbnails. So I'm going to incorporate more of that so that the algorithm, so I can use that information to help all them show my videos to more people. That's how I'm going to incorporate it.
I love that. I know when I'm looking at content, whether I'm using just browsing YouTube and I see a thumbnail that attracts me or is interesting, whether it's a topic that's relevant to the stuff I'm creating or not, I'm just looking at a visual that's grabbing my attention. Or if I'm using tools like TubeBuddy or whatnot, and it suggests different thumbnails, I'll take screenshots of those and I put them into a folder. And the folder's kind of gone quiet. Like I just keep adding to it, but I don't dig into it. So I think that's also going to be something I'm going to do soon, to really look at what grabbed my attention and how I can utilize those designs to create my own content. Of course, I'm going to compare them to what Derral Eves teaches us, because he is the genius. Lefty, what about you?
I'm all about that retention. I'm all about the watch time hours and all that, right? Like, I mean, of course, thumbnails are great. Like having a catchy title is great. You most definitely cannot rule that out. Like it's like you have to have it. But I mean, how good is a thumbnail if someone's only going to stick around for 20 seconds and then leave, right? So for me, one thing that I noticed doing, and it sucks because I am a one-man band, I am a one-man show, and sometimes it surprises me like the output that I do because I am a one-man band. But playing around with different compositions, different angles, just keeping you like intrigued as much as possible without overdoing it. Like you want to make, like if we want to put it to music, right? If you're a DJ and you're playing a really good set, you can either take me along for a journey and a ride where it's going to be like very beautifully curated, and that's fantastic, where you can add in wow factors and wow moments every so often to keep me engaged. Or you can be the DJ that can't keep his finger off the siren button and every song is bam, 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 bam. Like, don't be that DJ. Like, I that's kind of like what I'm trying to find out.
What DJ is that?
They're normally in the hip hop genre, the R&B genre, the top 40 DJs. But nonetheless, you wanna just. I'm focusing on retention is what I'm trying to get at. Like, I want people to stick around. If I'm making like a 5-minute video, I want people to stick around for hopefully at least 3 of those minutes instead of 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's a couple content creators that have been creating. Now I'm just going to use this for everything, describing of every content creator. They create adjacent content to each other, and there was a lot of like this little rabbit hole I went down recently about shooting vlog content or
Mm,
utilizing the vlog style, which keeps people watching, but using it for tutorials or using it for other information-based content.
yeah.
And when it was this
Yeah.
beautiful aha moment when you apply the techniques of vlogging where there's motion and there's movement. And I don't mean you're shaking the camera around. I mean the first shot you're in one location and then you move to a different location, or you
Yeah.
have people talking literally
Mhm.
while they're walking that moves the story along. That same technique can be applied to, hey guys, here's 3 tips on how to create viral video marketing. You don't need to just sit there all the time and do it. You can switch things around. And yes, also as a solo producer, I feel that pain. I feel that pain so much because I spend so much time just setting up the shot
Yes.
nicely, perfectly, and then you're like, now I have to do that again.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Maybe 10
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. 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 As a one person show, that requires some skill and some technique, especially on the video editing area. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
skill.
It's a
You're
little
good
more
at it,
time
Lefty.
consuming. Yeah.
So
But we
that's
are
how
all
you
perfectly capable.
Yes.
that's
All
how
right, my
that's
friends. So, yep, go, Mark.
uh-oh. I got a little no, I think when you start off, it's going to be even more time consuming. But as you get better, that time might collapse a little bit.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, there's always either do it yourself or pay someone else. What would, I don't know, if you do pay someone else, what would be your best advice to, because you have your own creative idea of what you'd like things to be. What's your best tip for kind of transferring that idea off to someone else, in the hopes that they bring back what your creative vision is?
Storyboards and references.
Did you?
So, storyboards, meaning if you have that vision of what you
Okay.
want to
I
see,
mean,
so plan out each scene. Be like, I want this shot, and then I want it to transition to this shot. But you might not have that granular understanding of that final product you want. So that's where you're going to lean more heavily on option 2, which is references. Provide your video editor and your videography team with other content that you like the idea of. We were talking about thumbnails earlier. I am my thumbnail editor, let's be honest. We have references, we look at those thumbnail references, and then we create something that is an offspring of that. Same thing with video. I know video, or Lefty is like incredible. I'm just gonna say it again. Lefty has this superpower. I'm just gonna
yeah.
say that all the time now. Lefty has this superpower. He has this incredible skill of color grading. So being able to utilize and change the colors within your scene to give that emotion. Are you in this industrial, serious, tough kind of look, or are you looking for more soft and comforting and morning light? All those things he can create, but you provide your color grader with a reference. This is what I'm looking for. So that would be my advice when starting to work with a team. And I personally, because I like to learn the editing stuff and I like to do at least the basics of it. I try and do a video on my own of approximately what I'm looking for, so I can then provide that to my editor and say, well, can you fix up these? Can you fix up these? This is what I'm kind of looking for. So they have a backbone to work off of. What do you think, Lefty?
Okay. I might get I might get some cringe or some hate for this one, but and I'm actually going to use a reference from the book. Okay.
10 points.
Here it is.
Okay.
when you're going to hire a
All right.
professional,
All right.
now let's say you're going with someone like me, you have to let the creator create and you cannot let the brand dictate. Okay. Like the perfect example in this book, we're going to use the Squatty Potty. Okay. The Squatty Potty was funded by one of the dragons in Dragon's Den. All right. The guy's a suit guy. He doesn't like, I mean, yes, he knows how to make money. He probably knows a little bit about marketing and whatnot. But I feel at the time of when this whole thing started to come out, he was still in the traditional marketing mindset, right? And he literally told the Harmon brothers, I'm not using a prince with a rainbow unicorn. This is stupid. But if he didn't allow them, if he didn't allow the Harmon brothers to just do what they were good at, I don't think that product would have millions and millions and millions of sales. And it wasn't millions of sales in a matter of years. It was like millions of sales in a matter of like hours. Right? So a lot of people are like, this is my brand, this is my baby, don't you touch it. But at the same time, you have to allow us to be creative because we see things that you don't, right? Just like the person in a bad relationship. The person in a bad relationship doesn't know they're in a bad relationship until their friends come around and go, that guy's an ass. Like, get rid of him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they don't see it. And that's kind of how you are with your business. You are the person that doesn't understand that you're in the bad relationship and you need the outsider to tell you what really needs to happen in order to get the results. Right? And that's how I view it. And my last remarks to that is something that I put on Facebook yesterday, which is just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should.
Tweetable, repeatable.
Right. Right. Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. You'll be the bottleneck. You'll be the bottleneck in your entire operation. Try to learn and do everything. It's the old jack of all trades and a master of none.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, man. All right, my friends. Well, that is this episode of the Business Building Book Club. Thank you all for joining us. Pick up your copy of the YouTube formula from the one and only Derral Eves. Hashtag not sponsored at all, but would love to. Feel free to reach out, Mr. Eves.
Absolutely.
We're talking about this book because it's full of such great value. Whether you're just starting out on the YouTube platform, whether you have no intention of creating content at all, and you just want to understand how these technologies that we engage with on a regular basis have evolved and have become so integral into so many of our lives. This is a fantastic book. If you've been creating content for a while and you're like inching at the Mr. Beast level, this is the book for you as well, because, well, Derral Eves, he is the guy. He is the guy who geeked out on understanding YouTube at the most granular level. He got in at the very bottom level floors and has worked his way up. And he's sharing all of his brilliance with us. So that's why we chose this book to kick off this year of the Business Building Book Club. The way that all three of us purchased the book, again, is directly through Derral Eves. So if you look up the YouTube formula in Google, his funnel page will show up. And we purchased through that link because he also gives you a companion course, a video course that Mark has mentioned already, being full of extra value, like above and beyond extra value. So that's where we recommend you pick up your copy, but you can find it anywhere you like and be like Mark and also get the audiobook. And hey, remember, if you head over to Mark's group, and become engaged. It's not that hard because there is great content and great discussions and great value happening in Mark's group. If you join his group, get interacting, meet new people, ask questions, share value, share what you're learning, and you become the most engaged member of the month there, well, you could be rewarded with your own token for a free ebook or a free audiobook from Audible. And that's where Mark got YouTube Formula. So that's a great free way to also get a copy.
Yeah.
It's not just free, but you also get to learn along
Yeah.
the way because there's so much value in that group. So, Mark, how do
Absolutely.
people find your group?
You can find my group by going to that search bar and entering Funnel Building 101. It's Funnel Building 101, purple background. We talk about the art and science of funnel building. Yeah, come join us.
I love
And it's
it.
the top 3 contributors. The top 3 contributors. I got an awesome group of entrepreneurs in there. Yeah, they compete each month for who to be on top, and so I love my family there.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Oh, I love it, my
Yeah,
friend. So
love to have
go
you.
check out Lefty the Video
My
Jedi.
final
Go check out Mark's group and come hang out in the visibility hacking world. We will see you next week, same bat time, same bat channel here on the Business Building Book Club, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, alive, or catch us on the replay. Remember, write in your books, dog ear your pages, because learning is a journey and we're here to do it together. I love you. Be excellent to each other and just get reading. Bye, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
day.